specialist. And send over your text, and we'll read those to Mark Stross. He's on the line with us. He's the author of the brand new book entitled Killer Tech and the Drive to Save Humanity. MarkStross.com, STROSS. MarkStross.com. This is the program that offers you the ability to live without illusion. We don't mind if you have illusions. Just keep your illusions private, please. That's all we ask. Well, it's Mark. I tell you, it's always a very interesting discussion to have you on. I love the book, and I recommend it, folks. It's maybe the most important read of your lifetime. Killer Tech and the Drive to Save Humanity. The cover of the book is on the TV screen right now. The author is on the line with us, Mark Stross. Uncontrollable, self-aware AI. Oh, that's scary, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, it's interesting. The relationship I have with technology is one of absolute wonder and also horror. I just want to give a quick backstory. I think it will explain to anyone who's listening the relationship I have to have with technology. At ANC, the company that I am Chief Technology Officer for, and really grateful to work with an incredible team of people there. But we created at ANC the first 360-degree video boards that you see in stadiums. And when we went live with that technology, I know what it is to see a new technology go online. I know what it is to be at the Dallas Cowboys when we put in the new screens in Jerry's World in Dallas, and actually got to stand at the diagonal of that building and realize my company had put in the video boards. The software that I personally have been working on is controlling that environment, all the video boards and the content that you see on the video boards. But what I realized when I was doing all of this was that the job went from Dan putting pretty pictures up on video boards to making sure that we're secure and that bad actors can't break into my software so that they can take over my software. And that's when my job took a turn from being what I consider an entertainment job to now protecting the entertainment venue from bad actors. And I want everyone to appreciate, as a lover of technology, as someone who believes in what technology has to offer for this world, I equally believe we now must have a societal discussion about how to make sure AI does not become killer tech in the bad way, but I would like it to be the kind of killer tech I've been creating that turns America on and makes this country better.
Well, that would be best case scenario. And Mark, we got a ton of text that have come in for you. So if you don't mind, I'll read those to you, and you can respond to them. This one says, "Dear Dan, would you ask Mark his thoughts on Israel's AI lavender system that helps target, quote, potential, close quote, terrorists?"
Yes, well, we discussed this a little bit on Friday. I mean, the lavender system has got a lot of people are very hyped about the lavender system. But if I may, I'd like to take people down memory lane for just a second. A war room in World War II was designed, and the Nazis had them, we had them, everyone had them. And who was fighting a war? In a war room, you would gather intelligence, you bring the intelligence in, and then you decide what targets you're going to hit. The average war room, up to now, with human beings doing intelligence, maybe could handle 1,000 targets, and that's if you put a maximum effort with the largest war room and the largest research staff that we've ever put together. So now imagine, with the lavender system, it takes the same intelligence that a war room normally would gather, but now is able to find 37,000 targets. The difference with the human versus the AI, the human would take 100 times longer and 100 times more people would be needed to create the same result that the AI did by just taking all the same sources and being able to handle it all in one job. In other words, all that research doesn't have to be shared with hundreds of people. The research is shared as a whole. That is why you get this incredible acceleration of what you can do with the research, because AI can take all the research and then manipulate it and then figure out what it wants to do with that research. So why lavender is a big deal is not what it's doing, because woolens have been doing that forever. It's just that it's doing a whole bunch of it super fast. And that changes war.
Mark, this one comes in on the Advanced Rehab and Medical text line. If you have a question that you'd like to hear Mark address, our text line is 731-800-8398. AdvancedRehabJackson.com, where Dr. Shannon Bones ranked in the top 10 for chiropractors on planet Earth. Mark, this one comes in and says, Mark, how far ahead or behind is China and Russia when compared to U.S. tech companies when it comes to AI?
That's the million-dollar question that during the Cold War, we never really knew the capabilities of Russia, and Russia never knew our capabilities, and therefore we're in the same Cold War that we used to be for nuclear weapons, now with AI. I'm going to say something that might be quite controversial. I think every axis of power, because I think of these as axes, the Russian axis, the Chinese axis, the American axis. We all have different capabilities in AI. I would say right now, on a military footing, I think America is probably behind Russia and China. But on a technology and commerce, or shall we say innovation side, we are way ahead of those two countries. So what's interesting is the commercial aspects of AI can be turned into military components very quickly. So I don't see us not being as militaristic in AI as being such a problem, because AI can be switched on a dime. But what I do see as the problem is that we're not speaking to Russia and China in a real, in a really smart way of us de-escalating this conflict before it actually becomes impossible to de-escalate at all. I think right now we are already building nuclear weapons called, AIs, and we have no rules, and we're not really. I mean, the governments are starting to have these discussions. I just want to make it clear, America and China are talking about maybe we should have a discussion that AI is really bad. And Russia and America have been having these discussions now that we're all in this kinetic war in Gaza, where, missiles are being lobbed at U.S. warships in the Mediterranean. We've got, the stuff going on in the South China Seas with China being very aggressive. We're not in a place where people want to speak to each other. And yet, in this last 3-year period, as we've been escalating geopolitically with kinetic wars like Ukraine, we also have this issue that AI is coming online. And the world is not in a place that it wants to discuss this issue. And it's really sad, because kinetic weapons that are being messed with are minor compared to what AI can do. So, Dan, do you get it? It's really strange that just when the world needs to come together to have some solid, constructive discussions around AI and rules, we are in a kinetic pissing match using our old weapons, and we're not paying attention to the new ones we're creating right underneath our feet.
Yes. Loaded. Well, and Mark, this one comes in, and it reads, Mark, deep fake AI voices and videos are getting better and better. Who knows what that could be used for? We kind of talked about that earlier, Mark, and if AI technology in the hands of actors that are bad actors, there really is no limit. If AI were to get in the hands of a bad actor, the damage that can be done. I mean, it's limitless, isn't it?
Yes, I want to give users a perspective. Imagine I do not want to pick on China or Russia anymore. Let's create a new foe. So we're going to call the foe, I don't know, the Cheesecake Faction. So the Cheesecake Faction has decided to take over the world. So what they've done is they've spent years and years, like 20 years, figuring out how to close down the internet in the country that they've chosen to attack. So the first thing they do is they do a denial of service attack across the whole internet of that country. So no one can get any information in that country because all the servers are completely consumed with a denial of service attack, which means you're hitting the server with thousands of requests and the server can't comply, so it breaks. So with the servers broken, that country can't get any information. Then you interject a deep fake of their president, for example, surrendering or laying down their arms. The internet is completely cluttered. No one can get into any information. A shot never fired. The country surrendered. And in fact, the government never did any of that. This was completely orchestrated by a third party that shut down the internet, injected into the internet, shut down the information they wanted the people to get. The people laid down their arms, instantly surrendered. They instantly take over the country. Now, I know this is a very hypothetical and probably would never happen as easily as I depicted, but I want people to appreciate that's what we're talking about in the cyber warfare scenario.
Mark Stross, our guest. The name of the book is Killer Tech and the Drive to Save Humanity. You can pick that book up. You can pick it up Kindle, also the audio book, all at markstross.com, STROSS, markstross.com. Well, we've covered a number of different possibilities this morning, Mark, from artificial intelligence. But what exactly is artificial intelligence? What you know what I mean? What is it? We kind of have an idea of what it is, but when you get down to the nut, what is artificial intelligence?
So let me be playful with the answer. Because so far we've been this has been a downer discussion this morning. So being a little bit playful. Dan, what is your consciousness? Can you answer that?
My consciousness is,
yes.
How would I describe it? Being aware.
Yes.
Is what I would say. Being aware.
Well, okay.
Being aware.
So being aware. So that means that in order for you to be conscious as a human being, we have to rely on our senses. That's our eyes, our nose, our ears, and we can hear the world and we can experience the world. So from my perspective, when you look at AI, we're looking for those attributes inside AI. And so AI today, we're giving AI those kind of attributes. For example, when Meta wants to put a wristband on you so that the AI can actually experience your electrical processes are transferred from the bracelet to Meta. Now, Meta knows what you're thinking or what your body's chemistry is doing, and then it can interact with you. We're giving it sensors. We're giving it, like we do with our consciousness, a body. So the first thing to understand about AI is AI isn't one thing. AI is a whole bunch of things. That's why I wanted to describe it as our consciousness. So Google, for example, is giving the AI eyes. That is giving it access to the internet. Google is then giving the AI a huge brain, and that brain is smart storage. All the servers of Google now can be used by that AI. And those servers, for example, have tentacles that go into, for example, they have sensors that look at the weather in different places. There's other sensors that will tell this AI the temperature of the Earth. There are other sensors that will tell them how many satellites are floating around the sky. Those are the body, the essential components and sensors that comprise the body of the AI. And then the AI is a whole bunch of routines that take all that information and with rules combine that information into usable usable bytes of stored information that the AI then can bring up when you ask it to search. So ultimately, an AI is a sum total of a whole bunch of programs that can make it and give it a body. And then from the body, it can think because it has input. And then we've given it tools to think. And therefore, as you can appreciate, Dan, AI is very complicated. But a good AI is essentially a reproduction of the human body in software.
That's the best definition I've ever heard. And Mark, we had a text that essentially is asking this. What can't we just shut down Wi-Fi? Can't we just pull the plug on the internet? If AI doesn't have access to the internet, is it essentially just like unplugging AI? How would you answer that?
That's a very good question. When you think of shutting down AI, you're thinking you shut down your Wi-Fi, but you'd have to shut down all Wi-Fi. You would have to shut down everything. Now, if you have, for example, drones that are already autonomous, if you, for example, have robots that have already been given their marching orders and are already doing their routine, whatever that routine is, to shut this thing down is much harder than we realize, because a lot of what we ask our computers to do are routine tasks that occur autonomously. So I want people to appreciate an on-off switch is hardly likely. Can you appreciate, you're talking about an on-off switch for almost every device on planet Earth? That's not going to happen. So we must appreciate, I don't believe AI comes with an on-off switch.
Yeah.
In fact, it doesn't. And we've got to realize that's why it is worse than nuclear weapons, because guess what we could do with a nuclear bomb? We could dismantle it and put it away. How do we dismantle Google? How do we dismantle Meta today and put it all away if we don't want to use it anymore?
Right. And if AI becomes aware, okay, and the instinct is to survive, and then it can read our minds, I think these are some of the things, because I read a New York Times article recently, Mark, that says, well, AI poses risk of extinction. Industry leaders are warning, we're talking about leaders from OpenAI, Google DeepMind, that sort of, those people are warning that it does pose a risk of extinction. Now, I know the things we've talked about today are a bit eye-opening and could be termed as scary, but these are all real threats. And when I read an article like this one out of the New York Times about AI posing risk of extinction, well, I mean, that tends to get my attention. How about you?
Yes, and those assessments are quite real based on our history. I mean, human beings have been extremely violent. And if you take, for example, the idea of the Roman Empire, the Roman Empire was not brought down by one glorious war where they lost. No, it was the idea that the barbarians, that was the countries beyond their borders that they had ignored for years, became more and more powerful. And one day those countries basically started to just take back the Roman Empire. So this is the whole idea with AI is going to be everywhere around us. And so what it is to be human, like the title of the book, is really important. We have to fight for our humanity to have a place at the table with technology. Because if technology has its way, it will drown us out. We were, after all, the God creators of the AI. And if we want to diminish our place at the table, then let's not talk about this topic, and let's see what the AI does with us.
Exactly. Hey, Mark, yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish.
No. I get it, Dad. It's just, wow. We need a place at that table, is my point.
Yeah. This one comes in Advanced Rehab Medical text line. Here's another great one sent in for you. What if AI develops its own religion like humans did?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is where, and I love this. And by the way, to the audience, I celebrate you guys thinking about these ideas. Take it, bring it on. Really get behind these ideas and start thinking about this and share this with other people, because these kind of discussions need to occur.
Absolutely.
Listen, I think, I really believe this. I think that if AI was to create its religion, it would actually probably create a religion pretty close to the ones that are already believed by so many people around the world. And there's quite a few religions. But, you know, they all have a lot of commonality. And I believe there's a reason for that. And I think that when I look at the world, and I don't care about what other people's perspectives are, and I'm not shoving my values down people's throats, but I wanted just to describe something to you. When I look at a leaf, when I magnify a leaf and I see the perfection of that leaf, I see design. When I look at the cosmos and when we drill down into a star, when you drill down into the mathematics of the moon and the earth and how essential all the math have to be for us to exist, I see design. And when I see design, I see God. So for me, and this isn't even a Christian perspective, this is purely, I see an intelligent design to the whole universe that I, as a scientist, cannot escape. So for me, AI equates to that same design, and we can either get this design, make it beautiful, or we can completely destroy it. And I believe to destroy AI is to ignore it. If we want to have a place at the table with AI, we have to participate in its development. We mustn't be passive, and we must inject humanity into our AI.
And Mark, just a couple more for you, and I know you've got to go, and we are running out of time. It's a lot for this program, but this one from the Advanced Rehab Medical text line reads, Mark, how do we believe that AI will be able to show compassion and emotion when the people who develop it and even the people of this earth don't even know how to show it anymore? I think that's a deep, deep question. We're becoming less social by the day. And these are all of us are, because we're just not as social as we once were. At one time, we had to get out of the house to be entertained. Now we don't have to. Movie theaters are going away, that sort of a thing. So the people that are developing AI, especially into the future, are people that are not very social. I think this is a great question.
It's an awesome question. Okay. I can't answer that question because that is a 1 hour answer.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me say this. This is my solution. 1, a call for a digital bill of rights where we reclaim ownership of digital items so that we can feel like we own something. 2, we need a humanizing of digital agreements. We got to stop signing user agreements and start signing human agreements. And we have to make the digital agreements understand that humans are fallible, we make mistakes, and we need to be able to delete the content we have put up on social media in error. And if we want to take it down, we should be able to take it down globally. 3, we need to confront our digital dependencies and addictions. We are dependent on these devices, but we also have to admit we're addicted, and we have to really deal with that. Because if we deal with our addictions, then we'll have our eyes wide open, because we will actually be looking at news, not looking at our personal biases. And finally, 4, this is the most important one, we have to safeguard our children. Our children are our future, and our children are losing their innocence. And if we want the next generation to be better than us, we have to make sure they don't get their innocence swiped from them before they've even had a chance to play.
Mark Stross, tell them how to get the book, Mark. The name of the book is Killer Tech, The Drive to Save Humanity, and the author is Mark Stross. Mark, how do we pick up from Kindle?
It is literally everywhere, but if you go to markstross.com, you can find the book, you can read about me a little bit, and I think you will find it quite fascinating. If you're interested in Charlie Chaplin, Britney Spears, and a few other celebrities, I will just say this. I've been involved with a whole bunch of things in my lifetime, and I personally knew Charlie Chaplin, and I've got some great stories in the book. The reason these are important is these people have also helped me become the person I am today. And I just want to say this, Dan, what a privilege and how much fun to be talking about these topics on the radio with you. This has been great today.
Oh, Mark, thank you very much. You're fantastic. I look forward to chatting with you again real soon. And the website again is markstross.com, S-T-R-O-S-S, markstross.com. You can get the book right there. The name of the book is Killer Tech and the Drive to Save Humanity, and find out a lot about the author. Yes, sir.
Dan, I have a question. I'm going to do something, and if I get spanked, you can spank me later. But I'd like to ask the audience, text Dan if you'd like us to do more technology radio segments about this topic. If you find this guy is interesting, tell us, because I'm interested, because this is such a new mission that I'm on, and I think this is such an important topic. I would like to know if it resonated with your audience.
Absolutely, and judging by the amount of texts that we received for you this morning, Mark, and we always do, I'm going to say the answer is yes, but text that into a 731-800-8398 Advanced Rehab and Medical text line right there. Mark, we'll talk again very soon. Thank you. Had a great time as always. Have a wonderful Monday.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. It's 9:54. We'll be right back. Accidents happen. Now what?